Hello and welcome everybody to my Elementalist Wildstrike build for 3.13 Ritual League. This is going to be my first guide, so I'm sure I'm probably going to overlook something or miss something or leave it out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So we started with the Witch and moved into the Elementalist on this, deciding that we were going to try the Wildstrike with the new Trinity Jewel. And since the new passive tree has really added to just being able to utilize the elements and the defensive part of it with Bastion of Elements itself, I thought this might would be a really fun and kind of unique build. So far, I'm having a blast with it. Now, the tree is leveled to 100, and there are many tweaks that you could probably do to actually get a little bit more power out of this. But we went with just a really basic tree itself and no added cluster jewels, no unique jewels or anything like that. So I'll kind of go through everything and let you know where how we started out and where we went with this. I'll start out with the tree and then go to the ascendancy tree, go through the skills that we have set up and also the items. So I'm going to try to keep this kind of short and directly to the point. So to as far as like leveling, I don't even remember what skill gem I used to get going, but it was any of the basic elemental skill gems. Once you get into Lion's Eye, you can level that all the way up until you're able to actually take Wild Strike. Now, once you get Wild Strike, you would want to transition over and start using scepters, or you could possibly use claws in the beginning. This build does end up using scepters in the long run, and I'll kind of go over that and the reason why we decided to go with that. This build was put together by me and a friend of mine. He actually greatly helped with this to get everything up and going. So as far as like going through the progression of the tree, I would say, and this is just my preference. Once I got up to this node right here, I went ahead and started going to the top just to get the three elementals and then working on. There's not a whole lot of life you pick up, so we got a little bit of elemental resistances and lightning right or life right there, going over and also increasing the shot duration and the chance to shock on enemies right there. We picked up one of the jewel slots right there, and pretty much I think the best thing to look for is just attack speed, increased global critical strike chance. You can look for strike multiplier and definitely increase life because we're not working with a whole lot of life here. I expect, and you'll see once I get over to the items, the gear. A lot of the gear I kind of went middle of the road on. I didn't go for high rolls on anything yet, but I expect to be just over probably 4,000 health by the end of the build. So once you actually move up and get all of the nodes toward the top, you can slowly kind of start working your way down. And once I actually got to this point, I went ahead and worked my way up and got all of the scepter and hammer or scepter and mace skills up here. And then I'm starting to end the rest of my tree out on the bottom down here, just trying to fill it out the rest of the way. Now, as far as ascendancy goes, the Elementalist, I feel, like I said, I feel like it was just a great choice, especially for trying to wild strike with Trinity. So I actually say, very first off, during your first ascendancy, try to go with Shaper of Storms, just to get that extra shock. It makes all your attacks shock, and then it adds in that extra little bit of damage, lightning effect. Um, from there, as far as the second ascendancy, you can go either which way. You can take the Shaper of Winter, which will chill your enemies, or you can go up with Bastion. Bastion of Elements is probably one of the bigger defensive parts of the build, so this has actually helped me a great deal. I took it third instead of taking it on the second path. I went to Shaper of Storms and then Shaper of Winter, and then I ended with Bastion of Elements, and then I'm going to pick up Shaper of Flames as my last. But you can kind of move it around how you see fit. If you think you might need a little bit more elemental resistance, or not so much elemental resistance, but protection from the elements, and it does help quite a bit. I might would go ahead and take Bastion of Elements second. possibly even first if you really think it might help you that much. The great thing about Bastion of Elements, for every notable, you actually receive 100 additional to the total. So I think right now I'm at level 77 in the build, and I'm setting right around 2800, I believe, which has helped greatly. Any kind of lightning, static, anything like that, the shield has actually prevented me from taking all that extra damage. So it has helped quite a bit. Moving over to skills, like I said, the main one is going to be Wild Strike, and we decided to go with Multi Strike, Ancestral Call, Elemental Damage with Attacks, Concentrated Effect, and Trinity. So I probably would say if right now I'm running a 5 link and I'm running everything except for Concentrated Effect. So I think if you can get up to a 5 link, I believe Concentrated Effect would probably be the lowest. I would keep that one off until I could get the 6 link. Um, but probably the two key ones would be going ahead and getting Wild Strike and Trinity. Ancestral Call does help quite a bit as well, and Multi Strike, and then Elemental Damage with attacks. That's just kind of the order that I kind of went in, or I would put them in. Next up, we have Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice, and Enlighten. I would try to go ahead and get a level 3 Enlighten, just to kind of help out with the mana reserve. Honestly, I haven't ran into too many problems with mana. I still use a mana flask, but not often. I haven't had a whole lot of problems with it. But those three greatly increase your damage output all the way around. I also have on one of my weapons, cast when damage taken, flame wall, and frost bomb. So those are just kicking off a little bit of extra elements. You put the flame wall up, and it also helps with anything that passes through the flame wall. So that has also been kind of an added bonus as far as damage goes. Um, I also have summon ice golem, elemental weakness, increased duration, and cast when damage taken. And I have those on my boots. Or no, I actually have those on my gloves. I'm sorry. Now, as far as movement, we went with Leap Slam, Fortify, and Faster Attacks. So as soon as you can get your Leap Slam in and go ahead and spark off Fortify, that helps greatly as well. And then we end it with Precision, just level 1, Clarity level 1 as well. We went with Vile Haste and Vile Grace. So that kind of rounds out the skill gems and what you would look for. Moving over to items, the big star of the show, we went with Durrani's Catalyst as far as the weapons go, and those two scepters right there has made such a difference once I hit 75 in the amount of damage that I was doing. The ability to start leeching elemental damage as life has been huge. I wouldn't say that I was struggling. I did hit a few patches that not having any kind of life regen was a little bit harder, unless you just find something that you can throw on in your gear that gives you some life regen. But just getting those two scepters right there has made a great improvement on just the quality of play. Um, let's see here. Moving down to the helmet. Uh, this has been a great pickup as far as the helmet goes as well, especially getting the additional life. The life has been just a huge help. Also, the increased attack speed. Like I said, I'm right now. I think my total attack speed is around 3.13 or 3.15. So I'm getting the 3 attacks on Wild Strike per second, and that's triggering off each element per second. So you're getting all that extra damage. The Trinity adds in the extra damage along with the penetration. So you have elemental penetration, elemental damage stacking on top of each other, and you're able to actually clear mobs pretty quickly. As soon as I can actually get a little bit further on, and I do plan on putting up some gameplay footage. I just haven't made it that far yet, but that will be coming with this build. Next up is we went with the 6 link Belly of the Beast. Now there are some other choices that could possibly pick up later on. This is just kind of the start and kind of the base of the build. Belly of the Beast would be is a good middle of the road for just the life in general. Is going to help tremendously the increased armor and the elemental resistance as well. On the gloves, you're just looking for rares as far as your gloves, your boots, your amulet. So you're looking for anything that's going to increase your debts. Yet again, your attack speed, accuracy rating, armor, and max life. Now, like I said, as far as the gear, when I put it in, I kind of put everything in as the middle of the road. I didn't want to put in like super high end gear. Of course, you may find something that's actually got better stats than any of the stuff that I put up on here, which is absolutely fine. So you're just looking for probably the main increases would be your accuracy, your speed, your life, increase to armor, critical strike chance, and critical multiplier. So those are your key ones that you're really looking for. Um, we also down here we went with Wise Oak, so we're trying to keep all of our elemental resistances the same, which you can do pretty good as long as you try to pick up things that's pretty even. I know it's going to be hard, especially on stuff like this with the two-tone boots. Getting fire and cold exactly the same, maybe a little bit harder to do, but if you can, just try to keep everything even while using the Wise Oak flask. Um, the amulet, we went with more chaos resistance, more life, critical strike chance, and a little bit of added mana regen, and also the physical damage to attacks, accuracy rating. All that has helped tremendously. Now, the two rings are probably the most expensive things on the build. Possibly also the bottle filth or bottle filth, bottle faith. Sorry. Um, so the taming will greatly increase your elemental resistances and also your elemental damages. So the rings are huge to the build late game. You don't have to worry about trying to pick them up straight out of the gate because they are quite expensive. I think right now, when I was looking the other day, they were running right around 3 assaults a piece, 3 to 4 assaults. Of course, they're going to kind of vary as the league goes on. As far as the belt, you want to pick up a good Stygian Vice. One socket is fine. Matter of fact, I haven't even picked up my Stygian Vice yet in the game. I'm still running on just, I think, a random leather belt. But look for strength, armor, life, and a little bit of extra resistances, some elemental damage, and increase elemental damage with attack skills. So anything that's going to add on to that damage, you're looking kind of just to fill out additional life and damage with your belt and the abyssal jewel. Like I said, as far as the flask go, we went with Wise Oak, Bottled Faith, Cinder Swallow, and the Blood of Curie, and then a simple chemist diamond flask of staunching, just to kind of stop your bleed effect or anything like that. I stuck all three of the jewels in as the same thing, so all three of the jewels are just increase attack speed while dual wielding, increase critical strike chance, and increase max life. Like I said, you don't have to get those exactly the same. If you find something that has increased attack speed, critical strike multiplier, critical strike chance, any of those, max life is greatly looked for. Just like I said, we're running kind of low life anyway, so any kind of extra life that you can get in there will greatly improve the survivability of the build. It's not the tankiest build by any means. I have been one shot multiple times, but as far as like just clear speed and just all around fun to play, this has been an absolute great build, and I really have had a blast with it so far this league. Like I said, I'm sure I'm overlooking stuff and have left some stuff out. If you have any comments or questions, just let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can on those. Um, I do plan on doing another video and adding in some gameplay and any kind of updates that we come up with. Like I said, I just hit level 77. I did want to go ahead and get this out there. I'm going to have the POB in the link underneath the video for you. And I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please throw me a like, subscribe, and we will be back with you hopefully soon with some more of this build guide. And I'm working on a few other things as well. So I appreciate it, and we will see you later on.